এর প্রতিবাদে বড় ভূমিকা রাখেন বেসরকারি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের শিক্ষার্থীরা। সেদিন বেলা 11টার দিকে মেরুলবান্ডা এলাকা থেকে খবর আসতে থাকে ব্র্যাক বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের শিক্ষার্থীদের সঙ্গে পুলিশের পাল্টাপাল্টি ধাওয়া ও সংঘর্ষের ঘটনা ঘটেছে। সেই পরিস্থিতির 1 বছর পেরিয়েছে।
Hello everyone, my name is Porter. This is my 10th semester. I am from a biotechnology program under MNS department. So today the documentary topic is how the Karl Marx theory combined with our July uprising. In July 24, Bangladesh witnessed a moment that shocked the nation. What began as a protest against the public sector and the job quickly began through a worldwide student uprising. Students are angry to to conclude the quota, but about some unfair opportunities, rising unemployment, and the educational inequality and job issues. So thousands of people come out to the street and raise their voice, and all the university students together. So the government responds with violence. Police rapid actions, battalions, guards, and many military units are combined. They lies to the bullets, rubber bullets, and tear gas to the unnamed students. Entire neighborhood, Jatrabari, Uttara, Mirpur, Mohammedpur, Rampura, turned into a scene of chaos. At the end of the day, many people are injured. There is one person whose name is Abu Said, who is only 25 years old, and who is the student activist, captured the nation and attention and become a symbol of courage and sacrifice. So, in Brack University, there is one staff who gives the interview as a victim in the July uprising. What happened in the Brack University that
মানে যুদ্ধ কখনো দেখিনি। আর গুলি গুলি শব্দ, তারপরে আপনার হলো গুলি বন্ধ, এটা আমরা তো আমার এত বছর বয়স কখন দেখি। আমার জন্ম হয়েছে যুদ্ধের পরে, অনেক পরে। কিন্তু তখন আমি দেখছি কিভাবে গোলাগুলি হয়, কি ভয়ানক গোলাগুলি হয়। কিন্তু তখন আমার ভয় ছিল না। স্টুডেন্টের সাথে তখন মনে হয়েছিল যে আমি ওদের সাথে আছি, যোদ্ধা এরকম মনে হয়। যে তার জন্য আমি ভয় পাইনি, আমি সবার আগেই ছিলাম, বরং ছেলেদের চেয়ে আমি আগে দাঁড়াইছিলাম, সবার আগে দাঁড়াইছিলাম। এবং ওখানে আমি 1.5 মাস ডিউটি করছি, 1.5 মাস আন্দোলনের পরও ওখানে দাঁড়াই ডিউটি। কত বড় বড় অফিসার আইসি হুমকি দিচ্ছে আমারে, তারপর আমাকে মেরে ফেলবে। আমারে মেরে ফেলার জন্য আমার চারপাশে ঘিরে ধরছে। যখন আমি বাসায় যাই পুলিশরা, পরে একজন পুলিশ আমার বাসায় দিচ্ছে। ওনার দায়িত্ব কর্তব্য স্টুডেন্টের সঙ্গে থাকা, তাই উনি ছিল, উনি কোনো রাজনীতি করে না। পরে আমি এটা বলছি, আমি কোনো রাজনীতি করি না, স্টুডেন্টের সাথে আমি ডিউটি করি। আমি স্টুডেন্ট বাইরে গুলি খাই, আমি কেন ভিতরে থাকি? আমি স্টুডেন্টের সাথে থাকবো, গুলি দিতেও খাই, আমি খাবো, যেহেতু আমি ওদের দায়িত্ব আছি। ওরা 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 মরবে আর আমি বাঁচবো, এটা হবে না।
they held a peaceful set into prayer for victims, only to lead meet with the rubber bullets and tear gas. The resist blocking police vehicle and joining to the protest in the Merulbata and the Brack University, becoming a symbol of youth courage. Faculty members also stood to solidarity, committing the violence and supporting the students' right to speak. The bravery inspiration of the nation helped to sustain a movement that ultimately forced our previous Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign, and by the students and as our interim government to Dr. Muhammad Yunus. To understand this historical moment, we turn to Karl Marx theory to historical materialism. Marx believes history moves through conflict over material conditions like job, education, resource, and social inequality. When the system favors to few while neglecting the majority, the growth in Bangladesh, students face the strain that job opportunity, rural or urban educational inequality, the political matters, and the corruption. As example, in France, 1968, students and workers rose against explosion. In China, 1989, workers demand for freedom, facing a brutal crackdown. Crossing the time and border, when system falls, the students often become the torch bearers of change. The July uprising of 2024 was not about that then quota. It was about justice, dignity, and the right to shape up the future. It was about youth providing that they are massive observed. They are the heartbeat of history, as Karl Marx said. Progress comes with struggle. This was just a process. It was a turning point in history, a moment when the voice of the youth became the voice of our nation, and the dream of a fair Bangladesh became a collective demand of justice.
Hello, I am Anika Kamashejuki. I will be talking about one of the Karl's philosophical theory. In 19th century, he actually came up with one of the most modern philosophical idea, influential idea, which is dialect materialism. If you ask me what is dialect materialism, it is like a society is not only shaped by ideas, it is also shaped by materials like goods that are produced by Karl Marx. Get this inspiration from Hegel. According to Hegel, life is shaped by ideas, but it's totally opposite for Karl Marx. According to him, life actually shapes ideas. Like society, actually the production, the mode of production actually forms a society. Now, this mode of production creates class struggle between two classes. One who owns the production and another one who actually survives through labor, selling their labor. Dialect materialism sees this class struggle as the engine of history. When the contradictions in production and society cannot be resolved, then new history actually created and society transformed. Old society breaks down and new one rises. Now this theory actually shows us that it's not just a historical event. It is actually a process, a continuous process of struggle, conflict, and transformation. We can actually see July uprising as the core example of Karl Marx's class struggle. The upper class was actually oppressing the lower class for years. Then when the conflict wouldn't be resolved, people actually lower class actually.
Karl Marx once said that history moves forward through conflict and class struggle. He explained this through the dialectical method. The July uprising in Bangladesh is a powerful example of how Karl Marx's idea still work in present world. The July uprising in Bangladesh started when the quota system in government jobs was reinstated. Students became very frustrated, but it was only the surface. Behind this, there were deeper problems like unemployment, corruption, and inequality. This problem made life very difficult for ordinary people of the country. We can show this July uprising with three dialectical stages: thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. First, the thesis. When Sheikh Hasina's government with an authoritative control with quotas and corruption. Antithesis was started after, in a press conference, Sheikh Hasina said,
তার মানে কি মুক্তিযোদ্ধার সন্তান নাতিপুতিরা কেউ মেধাবী না, যত রাজাকারের বাচ্চারা নাতিপুতি হলো মেধাবী, তাই না?
After this, the students started protesting. They wanted fairness in the quota system. Slowly, the conflict of opposites became intense. The ICT minister Pollock shut down the internet. Student leaders were arrested by DB police and beaten brutally to stop the protest. For a moment, the movement almost stopped.
সার্বিক স্বার্থে আমরা এই মুহূর্তে থেকে আমাদের কর্মসূচি প্রত্যাহার করছি।
However, the movement intensified further on 18th July, when private university students joined and revived the protest. Even though most of them do not want government jobs, they take them on for benefit of the people of their country. Slowly, people from all classes and occupations joined. This showed class consciousness. Student and ordinary people realized they shared a common struggle. Finally, the synthesis came when Sheikh Hasina resigned and we got a new Bangladesh.
So this shows that contradiction in society, conflict and struggle lead to real change. The July Uprising is a clear example of Marx's idea that history moves forward through the unity and conflict of opposition, and that the old is replaced by the new way.
Hello, I'm Afsana. According to Karl Marx theory of dialectical materialism, history is driven by class struggle, the constant conflict between the oppressors and the oppressed. Whenever injustice and contradictions within society become unbearable, people rise up and revolutions are born. The first case study is the Paris Commune of 1871. After the Franco-Prussian War, French workers and common people stood against monarchy and the ruling elite. They tried to build a government of equality formed by their own elected representatives. Although the commune lasted only 72 days before being brutally suppressed, it became the first real example of workers' power in history, inspiring generations of revolutions. 71, students here raise their voice against corruption, unemployment, and the illusion of democracy under authoritarian rules. Using internet slogans, the students created their voice against the authoritarian rule and demanding the justice and the change. From Karl Marx's perspective, the July Revolution and the French Commune both shows us the same truth. They both are struggle for their right, human rights. The French Commune shows us the struggle of workers, and the July Revolution to 2024 shows us against the corruption, unemployment. There are a lot of students had died on that situation. So the Paris Commune remains a symbol of workers' struggle, and the July 2024 reflects the new generation fight for the justice and dignity.
History shows us that students were often the conscience of society. The Ethiopian student movement of the 1960s to 70s and Bangladesh July Uprising of 2024 are considered as two powerful examples of this truth.
In Ethiopia, students challenged the monarchy and its feudal system, demanding land for the tillers and justice for the working masses. Their slogans reflected Marxist dialectics. the recognition that history advances through the struggle of opposites: feudal landlords versus landless peasants, oppression versus liberation. The students saw themselves as agents of this transformation, pushing society toward a higher stage of equality. Decades later, in Bangladesh, the July uprising erupted. What began as a protest over job quotas soon revealed deeper contradictions between privilege and merit, authoritarianism and democracy, power and people. In true dialectical fashion, repression by the state only sharpened the contradictions, turning scattered protests into a mass uprising. The synthesis came in the form of change, the fall of an entrenched regime, and the birth of impossibilities to reform. Both movements prove Marx's insight that the oppressed, through struggle, create the conditions for a new order. Students and youth, though often dismissed as idealists, have shown that they are the spark that sets history in motion. The Ethiopian movement and the Bangladeshi uprising remind us that revolution is not a distant dream, but a living process, one that advances through struggle, sacrifice, and the unyielding demand for justice.
In July 2024, the streets of Bangladesh became a stage for history. What began as a protest over public sector quotas quickly grew into a national-wide movement. As students and citizens confronted deep inequalities, corruption, and political oppression.
Seen through the lens of Marx's dialectical materialism, this uprising was the result of fundamental contradictions. The material reality, rising unemployment, unequal access to education, and systematic corruption clashed with a political structure designed to protect elite privilege. From this tension emerged class consciousness, as a generation recognized that the system itself was unjust. Theses and antitheses collided, and history moved forward. This struggle is not unique. Across time and continents, from the Paris Commune to the Ethiopian student movements, oppressed groups have challenged entrenched power, transforming society in the process. In Bangladesh, students wielded the tools of a new era: viral slogans, social media, and collective mobilization, proving that revolution adapts to its time, even as its forces remain the same.
The July uprising was more than a demand for jobs. It was a dialectical movement, where the contradiction between power and the people sparked a new possibility, a possibility for justice, equality, and accountability. It serves as a reminder: wherever material inequality persists, history's currents will continue to rise, and the voice of the oppressed will not be silenced. কি করলা তুমি? ভিডিওটাকে যে একবারে আমার ইন্টারাপ্ট করে ফেললা। The class struggle is real.